This is 3.4 review example number 3. All it says is Maggie walks at a constant rate of 3 miles per hour. Graph the relationship. Before I graph, I want to look over here and create a table. So a lot of times, guys, tables won't be given to you. You have to create it yourself. Well, I've decided that the relationship is between miles and hours. Hours, any unit of time will typically go on the x-axis just because it makes a little bit more sense. So I labeled the hours as the x, and you can see I did that in the table. So I just put h for hour, and then I put an x, and then the miles, I'm going to have that go along the y-axis, and I wrote y in the table. So again, you won't always get a table, but just create one really fast. I promise it's not hard. It won't take a lot of time, and it'll make your life a lot easier. So we're only given Maggie walks at a constant rate of 3 miles per hour. Well, let's think about that. If there are 3 miles per hour, and that's 1 hour, then the hour is going to be 1. So the relationship would be for every 1 hour, Maggie walks 3 miles. So in order to create a line, we have to have at least 2 coordinates. So let's go ahead and see if we can add something else to the table. Well, if I then do 2 hours, we need to figure out, how do I figure out how many miles? Well, there's a couple ways. We notice here that the hours, if you multiply it by 3, we get the miles. So that's one way. A second way would be saying, okay, on hours, if I won't go from 1 to 2, I'm multiplying by 2. So to get from 3 to this number right here, the missing number, we would also have to multiply it by 2. Either way, you're going to get the same thing. I like to go, okay, 1 times 3 is 3, so 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to go ahead and do another coordinate, another ordered pair, just to kind of make sure I know what I'm doing. So let's say we do 3 hours. Well, we know that 1 times 3 is 3, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9. Oops, sorry, I don't know why that popped up. All right, so we have our coordinates would be 1, 3, 2, 6, and 3, 9. So let's go ahead and graph this. If I go over 1 for hours, I'm going to go up 3 for miles. If I go over 2, I'm going up 6. And if I go over 3, I'm going up 9. Again, we need to make sure we're going over before we go up. Now, we always start at 0, 0, which makes sense because if Maggie walked 0 hours, she's going to go 0 miles. And I'm going to make it as straight as I can. If you're on paper, make sure you use something to make it straight. On Big Ideas, it'll be straight already. But I start at 0, 0. And I go through this coordinate, and I'm done. So again, that's not as straight as it can be, but it'll do for now. So one thing that I want to make sure that we do is really fill out this table so that it makes sense. If you happen to graph a ratio relationship and there's points all over and there would be no possible way to connect a straight line from 0, 0, then you didn't do the ordered pairs correctly or you didn't graph them correctly. So make this table off to the side on your notes. Fill it in and see if it makes sense. When I see this table, it looks like it makes sense. 1, 3, 2, 6, 3, 9. And if you can do that, the graphing part is it's pretty easy. So go ahead and try your example, make that straight line, and make sure your coordinates make sense before you graph them.